Section P.3B. So if you notice last time we did P.3A, right? That was just on slopes, figuring out slopes and stuff like that. This is going to be P.3B, slope-intercept form and graphing. The reason why we're covering this is because one of the most important ways to graph a linear function is using the slope-intercept form. Sometimes the point slope is helpful as well, but slope-intercept form is probably like the best way to do it. Okay, so you're going to notice first off that they're going to have you like just trying to write them in slope-intercept form, and they're going to have you graphing them. Okay, so before we do that, let's just define it. So the slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form. And this is going to say, given a slope m and y-intercept b, the slope-intercept form is y equals to m, actually I might change some of the coloring here, mx plus b. I'm going to change this b here, and I will do this m red. Or let me change that blue to green. It might look a little more obvious. Okay, so that's our slope-intercept form. Given a slope m and a y-intercept b, the slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Now, they don't always give you the slope. They don't always give you the y-intercept, but they will give you an equation a lot of times, and all you have to do is manipulate it. You just have to solve for y. That's it. Okay, so moving things over to one side, right? Move everything over to one side, or I guess according to the way you guys are looking at me, move them to the right side. Okay, just leave y by itself. If you have to add, subtract, divide, multiply, do what you got to do to get y all by itself. Okay, so that's going to be the first part, first 5 questions on your homework. So let's go ahead and do a couple of these questions. Okay, so this is going to be, let's go with number 2. Start with number 2 first. Okay, it's going to say, write the slope-intercept form. Intercept form. Again, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. The easy way to remind you is just solve for y. Solve for y. Okay? And here's the equation they give us for number 2. It's 3x plus 4y equals to negative 24. Remember, my goal is to get y all by itself. So right now I see that there's a 4y on the left side, and then there's a 3x on the left side. Now I want to leave the y on the left side, but I got to get rid of that 4. But before I do that, let me get rid of the 3x that's just kind of hanging out by itself. So I'm going to move that 3x over to the right side. Okay? So I'm just going to move it to the right side. So I get 4y is equal to negative 3x minus 24. So just a real quick reminder, when you move something from one side of an equation to the other, right, you go to from one side to the other. So other side, other sign, right? So instead of a positive 3x, a negative 3x. Okay? So that's why the 3x became negative, because I moved it to the other side. So I have to change the sign. And then notice how I put the x before the number. Okay, instead of negative 24 being first and the 3x being behind it, the format of the slope-intercept form has the x in the middle. The y is on one side by itself, the x is in the middle, then the number's on the right side. So I'm trying to format it properly. Now the last thing I'm going to do is I got to get rid of this 4 that's next to the y. So I'm going to divide everything, every term by 4. Okay, so divide this by 4, divide this by 4, and divide this by 4. Every term gets divided by 4. So my answer comes out to y equals to negative 3/4 x, because you can't divide 3 by 4. I mean, I guess you could put 0.75, but we don't need to get to that. And then minus 24 divided by 4 is 6, and this is my slope-intercept form. Okay? Just to give you a little bit of extra information, your slope is negative 3/4. Your y-intercept is negative 6. Okay, try to remember these things. Your slope is negative 3/4. Your y-intercept is negative 6. You can see it in front of the x, whatever number's there, that's your m value, negative 3/4. And then after the x, this number that's just hanging out by itself, that's your y-intercept. That's where it crosses the y-axis. Okay? So that's where it crosses the y-axis. That's going to be important for when we start graphing. Okay? But the first 5 problems are going to be like this. They're going to tell you just solve for y. Okay? Just solve for y. So we'll try doing one more and then we'll move on. Let's try doing, we'll do number 5. So here's number 5. Right in slope-intercept form. And it looks like this. 3x minus 5y equals to 15. And again, I'm trying to get y all by itself. So right now I see that there's a 3x on the left side. There's a minus 5 that's multiplying the y value. Okay, so I got to get rid of that minus 5. But first we get rid of the other stuff, the x's, right? So that 3x, I'm going to throw it over to the other side. Notice it's a positive 3x right now. So the other side becomes other sign, right? So when I move the 3x over to the right side, this is what I end up with. Negative 5y, because the negative stays, okay? That minus 5 is still going to be a minus 5. The positive 3x becomes a minus 3x, and then I have a positive 15. Now I got to get y by itself, so I got to get rid of that minus 5 that's multiplying it. So in order to get rid of a negative 5 times y, we got to divide everything by negative 5. Whoops. This by negative 5. So y is equal to positive 3/5. Remember, a negative 3 divided by a negative 5, even though they don't divide, but a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So it's a positive 3/5 x minus 3, because 15 divided by 5 is 3, but one of those numbers is negative, so it's going to become a negative 3. So hopefully you're looking at this and you're like, yeah, that's not that bad, because again, there's 5 of these. I just did 2. That means you got 3 more to go. Okay? They're not terrible. You just got to remember, move things around. And I know a lot of times there's a lot of students that are scared of manipulating equations, but it's just moving pieces. That's it. We're just moving. And remember, like I said, a little trick is if you're going to move it from one side to the other, just rewrite it the same, just change its sign, right? If it's positive, make it negative. If it's negative, make it positive. Okay? So, all right, that's the first 5. Now, after that, they're going to give you 2 problems. Okay, 2 problems that say sketch the graph of each line. Okay, so I'm not going to do these 2, but I'm going to kind of refer to them when I do the rest of these in the back. Okay, because these 2 on the front page are already set up for you. They're easy. They're set up. The other ones back here, how many is it? 5 of them. They're not set up for you guys. Okay, so we're going to do the setup and then we're going to graph. Okay. So we're skipping numbers 6 and 7 because those are already set up for you. They're easy to do. Let's move on to, I'll probably do 2 more and then we'll be done. Okay. So we'll do 2 more. Let's try, no, I got to do 3 more for sure. Let's try doing number 8. So we're going to write in slope-intercept form and graph. So write in slope-intercept form and graph. So I'm going to have to graph. Number 8 looks like this. 4x plus 5y equals negative 5. So I'm basically going to do the same thing I did twice already. I'm going to solve for y. So by now I should feel okay doing it. I shouldn't be scared. I'm going to get this 4x. I'm going to check it over to the right side. Okay, so I get 5y equal to negative 4x minus 5. And then I'm going to divide everything by 5, right, to get y all by itself. So I'm going to divide by 5 everything that's there. So y equals to negative 4/5 x minus 1. So this part is done, okay, but I still got a graph, okay? But I got y equals to negative 4/5 x plus 1, okay? Now, to graph it, I don't know if you've ever been taught this way, but this is usually the way I teach it, okay? So let me write this out. Y equals something x plus something. Let me put m here, and the b was in green, if I remember correctly. Okay? Now, this is going to stand for move. This is going to stand for begin, okay? M and B. Begin, B. So you might say, where do I begin? B, begin. And then once you put your point where you're beginning, then from that point, you're going to move. Your slope of M is going to stand for move. Now remember, because again, you guys are supposed to already know this. That's why I'm kind of discussing it kind of like you do, right? You're supposed to know that if your slope is positive, you move up and to the right from your y-intercept. You're supposed to know that if your slope is negative, you move down and to the right. Okay, unless the graph doesn't fit, then you have to do everything opposite. But again, they're not expecting us to go over all that stuff with you guys again. They're hoping you guys remember, but I'm trying to just remind you guys of some of this stuff, okay? So now that it's in y equals to mx plus b, according to that equation, where am I going to begin? Where do I start? According to this equation, what's my begin? Negative 1. I'm going to go to my y-axis, and at negative 1, I'm going to put a dot. And then from that dot, I'm going to move. Which way do I move, up or down? Down, because it's negative. How many times? 4 times. And then how many times to the right? 5 times. And then I connect the dots. Okay? It's supposed to be simple. Graphing using slope-intercept form is supposed to be like the easiest way to do stuff. It kind of is. Once you practice it, you're like, oh, that wasn't so bad. But, I mean, just depends whether or not you remember everything. But, all right, here we go. I'm going to do a kind of big graph here, because we do have to move like 4 units and 5 units. All right, so here we go. So I'm going to write it down, what we said. We know that m is negative 4/5, and we know that b is negative 1. We mentioned that earlier, right? Begin at negative 1, move negative 4/5. So I'm going to go to negative 1 on the y-axis. Remember, your y-axis is vertical, your x-axis is horizontal. So on the y-axis, I'm going to go to negative 1. I'm going to put a dot right there. So there's my first dot. Okay? From that dot, a lot of people, the main mistake they make is when they count the slope, they start back at the origin at 0, 0. You don't go to the origin. Stick on that red dot. Now, from that red dot, I'm going to go 4 units down and 5 units to the right. So 4 units down from here. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 units down, and then 5 units to the right. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'm going to erase that just so you guys know. I don't need to keep that there, but I'm just showing you. That's my counting portion, okay? Let me get rid of that. Right here is the next dot. That's 4 down and 5 over to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 to the right. Now just connect the dots and you're done. Okay, as best you can. Again, using a ID card would be awesome. There's 3 more that are like this, and then there's 2 that are tricky, and I want to do those 2 tricky ones with you because I don't want you to go home and you're like, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I don't understand this. So I'm going to do those 2 tricky ones with you. But are we okay with this one right here? Okay, once you solve for y, get your m and your b. B for begin, m for move. You begin by putting the dot there, and then from that dot, you move according to your slope. Okay, so begin and move. So we got 2 more examples we're going to do, but these are going to be really simple. Okay, now these examples are not from your homework exactly, but they will be from your homework. Okay, so I'm not going to call it number 11 and 12. You know what? I'll call it 11-ish and 12-ish, so you can at least know which ones I'm referring to. Okay, so I'm going to put number 11-ish because it's not number 11, but it refers to number 11. Same instructions. Okay, you actually don't have to write it in slope-intercept form. You just have to graph it. I know it says to write it in slope-intercept form, but you do not. You just have to graph it. All right, so I'm going to put graph x equal to 2. That's it. That's like the whole equation. There's no x and y, just an x. So you're going to be given a grid, or not a grid, but a coordinate plane. I'll make a kind of small one here, nothing too big. Whoops, sorry about that. I'm pushing it up at the same time. Here we go. I'm just kind of drawing it out really quick. So when they say x equals 2, notice there's no x and y. Okay, why do lines go in diagonals? It's because we have an x component and a y component, a horizontal and a vertical. We have both, so things can move diagonally. But if I only have one variable, then it only moves in one direction, either up and down or left and right. Okay, so one variable, one motion, left to right, so it's flat or it's vertical. Okay, only one way. If you have 2 variables, then the flat and the vertical combine and they get diagonals. Okay, so only one variable, x equals 2. What I need to do is say, okay, where is x equals 2? I'm going to put a little dot at x equals to 2. Right there. Okay, now the question is, how do I draw the line? Look at all the tick marks. These are called tick, T-I-C-K, tick marks on the x-axis. See this little tick mark here, 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 here? Are those vertical or horizontal? The tick marks. They're vertical. That means that at this dot, I'm going to draw a vertical line all the way up, all the way down. And that's it. This line is drawn. Because there's only one variable. That means it's only going to move in one orientation, up or down or left and right. Okay, so x equals 2. I put my dot there. Then I look at the tick marks for my hint. All the tick marks look like this. They're up and down. So that means that line has to go up and down. Well, I'm going to put right here number 12-ish. I'm going to put it in green. I'm not going to change the graph, okay? But I'm going to put it right here, number 12-ish. We're going to draw it on the same graph, okay? We're going to draw it on the same graph. I want to graph y equal to -3. That way we don't have to redraw another one. We'll just use the same graph. Y equals to -3. Notice only one variable, not x and y, just y. So that means that this line is either going to be going up and down or side to side, okay? One orientation to it. So all I got to do is find y equals to -3. Y equals to -3 is right here. Now look at the tick marks on the y-axis. Are those horizontal or vertical? Those are horizontal. That means that this line will also be horizontal. And that's it. This is all you're doing for your homework. Okay? So it's nothing too terrible. It's just you're going to be solving for y. That might be like the hardest part, I think, personally, is always the solving part. Solving for y. The graphing part I always found, like I always enjoyed it. I'm an artistic person. I like to draw and stuff. So anytime we got to graphs in math, like I was always kind of happy because at least I got to draw pictures besides just doing math. So so I always preferred it, but I mean maybe you're not like that. But yeah, you're gonna graph some stuff, you're gonna solve for y, and that's pretty much it. Okay? Let me go ahead and stop the video, give you guys the work.